Hi, guys. Welcome to Own Your Essence, the podcast where healing meets empowerment. I'm your host, April DeMille, a psychic medium and a life coach specializing in grief, trauma, and toxic relationship recovery. This is a space for deep conversations, powerful transformations, and raw healing. Each week, we'll dive into soul-centered topics like psychic mediumship, the supernatural, metaphysical wisdom, emotional grief, addiction, mental health, spiritual wellness, and self-discovery. Through inspiring interviews and personal insights, this podcast is here to spread awareness, spark connection, and support your healing journey. If you're ready to set boundaries, reclaim your confidence, and step into your true power, you're in the right place. Let's own your essence together. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of our favorite people. I am your host, April DeMille. For those of you that are seeking intuitive insight, I provide private psychic medium readings. These sessions are designed to bring clarity and direction across areas like money, career, relationships, family dynamics, spiritual evolution, and emotional well-being. If you are ready for a deeper, more personalized support, I offer private one-on-one coaching for those navigating grief, trauma, and the complexities of toxic relationship recovery. You can schedule a discovery call using the links provided to ensure it's a comfortable fit. You'll find all booking links in the show notes of every episode. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Today, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce our next guest. Her name is Summer, and she is an intuitive teacher, a channeler, an author, and an author I'm having problems, and an author passionate about her work and helping others. So listen, she has something very exciting in store for us today. Hi.
Hi.
So I was just reading your introduction, but if you want to take a moment to tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you're doing, um, go for it.
Thank you so much, one, for allowing me the opportunity to be here and join you on your podcast. This is really exciting. I am Summer. I own the company Just Be True in Tyrone, Georgia. And I also have my own podcast that I'm still building and building up on. And hopefully one day I'll be able to do guests as well. I just haven't gotten there
Yay! That's
yet.
exciting.
But basically my goal is to help people through their intuitive and their spiritual journey so they know that they're not alone. Sometimes when we're in an awakening process, it could be very scary. You can feel like you're alone on the journey and you don't have anybody to talk to or help. And so my goal is to help people, let them know that they're not alone, and to bring like-minded souls together to learn and grow and explore what all of this is.
Yeah, and that's actually a really great mission to have because I think you
Mhm.
and I are similar in the sense that there's such a gap and a need for,
Yes.
how traumatic a spiritual awakening can feel. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. Like if someone's going through a spiritual awakening, then they're like, they have no clue, like they're newbies, this is brand new to them. What are some like signs that they can look for, like, oh, this is happening, this is what are some common things that show up for people?
Some people for me, I like to start with my own journey. When mine started opening up, is I was hearing voices around me
Okay.
and they were very unnerving, and I didn't understand why I was hearing these voices. Me and my husband had actually built a home on 22 acres, and that's where it all started. And I was going around talking to this little kid, explaining what was a vacuum cleaner, what was a washing machine and dryer, why you fold clothes, and come to find out, I was telling my best friend, and she's like, "Oh, you got to go see a medium." And I'm like, "What's a medium?"
Yeah, you're like, what's
I
that?
didn't even, yeah, I didn't even know what that was. And so she's like, "Don't worry about it, just go." And so I made my appointment. It was like a week or so later. And the day of my appointment, I'm sitting at work and I'm sitting in my cubicle and I'm hearing voices circling my head. It's like four voices I could hear just circling my head. And I literally thought that I was going to have to be institutionalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was terrified, because I recently saw the movie Beautiful Mind.
Mm.
And that's where I thought that I was headed, like to, into that space. And later that afternoon, when I showed up for my appointment with the medium, I sat down and she goes, "The first thing I have to tell you is you're not crazy." And I sat up and I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not crazy?" And then she explained to me that I could hear spirits from the other side. And
Hmm.
from that point, as far back as I can remember, even as a child, everything just kind of made sense. Because I would find myself like arguing with myself, like in circles and like coming up with like, you know, like an agreement or something to kind of stop the argument, and didn't realize that I necessarily wasn't arguing with myself. I was probably arguing with my spirit guides or someone
Yes.
else.
And you were the
Yeah.
referee. There was a referee
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just didn't realize what that was. But when we moved into that home, it was just amplified
Yeah.
because all the activity that was happening there on that land, because there was actually a portal there on that land and there was a lot of activity taking place. And so it just kind of put me in a situation where it was just kind of an overload,
Yeah.
right? It was overload of noise and voices and things. So when you're hearing voices that are coming out of nowhere, or you're getting information that you don't know how you're getting it, like it's just kind of a knowing, an instant knowing. So all of that can be signs of awakening.
Yeah.
Colors, if you're seeing colors around people, that can be it too,
Yeah.
right? But like if you're not used to these things, you can really feel lost and uncertain.
Yeah. Literally, you're speaking my language because when I went through like this dark night of shit, like it was a whole nother level of that awakening. I
Hmm.
I thought for sure there was something wrong with me, but more than that, other people thought there was something wrong with me because they were afraid of what I could do. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Like they didn't understand
absolutely.
it. So it was more
Hmm.
about like the heckling and shit I got from other people that made me doubt myself and think I was crazy
Absolutely.
above all. But I went
Yeah.
through that too, where I even called the cops on my fucking spirit guide. So that's a fun story. And I have a 3-page fucking police report about that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, true story. So yeah, so it does make you think you're off your rocker. It really does.
Yes. Yeah, it can, so having people to share your story with and that can say, you're not alone and, oh, I've gone through something similar,
Yeah.
or this is what happened to me. It can definitely you know, it can ease your nerves about that because you can get a sense of fear and anxiety and uncertainty that just surrounds you and even
Yeah.
scared of your own self.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
and scared even of the interactions that you're having spiritually because you're already
yeah.
doubting yourself. So then you're now almost emitting that frequency. And so
Yes.
that can happen too. At least it did for me.
Yeah, no, yeah, I 100% agree. Cause I kind of stepped into it and then funny because then I was like, oh, well, if I have this, then I want to go to all these haunted places to see what I can pick up. Oh
yeah,
my God, like be careful, like,
yeah,
because
uh-huh.
because you can definitely feel overstimulated
Hmm.
in places like that if you don't protect yourself and go with caution,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I think for sure. So okay, so while we're on the spiritual awakening, you talk about, intuition, right? You work with a lot of intuition.
Mhm.
But for people
Yes.
that aren't really familiar with intuition, how can they tell the difference between like intuition, fear, and just like wishful thinking or fantasy?
So for me, when I intuition is more subtle, it's a little bit quieter. It's not going to be loud. It's not going to be forceful. To me, intuition is really soft, and I usually get my intuition right and like this is my right shoulder, so right in this area here, and it's usually soft. I will say though that it has come in pretty loud before.
Yeah,
Very interesting.
I was actually gonna say I think it's subtle when you're not used to it, but then when you, I guess, graduate like to a certain level of
Mhm.
that, like I think it gets really loud and even presented with urgency if you need to act quickly.
I'll say so. I have a very interesting story. This was before I was aware of my gifts, aware of my intuition,
Okay.
and I had come home from spending the evening hanging out with the guy that I was dating at the time. And I went back to my apartment and I'm sitting in the car and I'm hearing in my head, you go back to where you came from. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, this is an argument I was having in my head for like 20 minutes. I was like, well, I can't do that. They were like, well, then I heard you got to go somewhere else. I was like, there's no place else for me to go. I don't have the money to rent a room. And why would I? I have my own place, you know? And they're like, you just can't go in. I was like, this is ridiculous. And I sat there and argued with this voice for about 20 minutes. And finally, we came to an agreement that, okay, I'll go into the apartment with the least amount of stuff that I need in my hands. So I had a blue jean jacket on, so I put my wallet on the inside pocket of the blue jean jacket. I put my keys around all my fingers,
Yep.
right? And I had my loaf of bread because I had to make my egg sandwich in the morning. So that loaf of bread was really important to me.
Yeah.
And so I went like that. And when I walked up to my apartment door, somebody was standing at my apartment door and pulled a gun out on me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if I had only, like, and then years later, when I realized that this was actually a gift and they were trying to help me, if I had only listened, I would not have had to go through the situation that I went through with that.
Totally.
So, sometimes it could be,
So if you sat in the car and like listened or sat wherever you were sitting, you could have avoided that moment
I could have
altogether. Yeah.
altogether, I could have
Yeah.
avoided it altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a
So,
story that's very similar. Like not it was life threatening for sure.
yeah.
But I did, I guess on the way to that event, I definitely had some reasons to be like, oh, I shouldn't go, but I was in so much turmoil and grief over the date that
Hmm.
happened on. And it was a death anniversary for somebody I loved so much. And so
Hmm.
I that was louder than anything else over my intuition. So I was like, I'm going. I need to, stay
Hmm.
busy, whatever. So I went and it was very life-threatening. Another police report that had to be filed.
Hmm.
But while I was in that situation, I got the get up now, get the fuck out of there. Like it was like very move your ass. And I was like, oh, whoa, hey, like it was so loud. It shook
Hmm.
my head like thunder. I was like, God,
Wow.
like I felt like I had a seizure in my body. And it was so
Hmm.
urgent and terrifying that I knew I was in danger. Like there was no doubt about it.
Hmm.
And I did the same thing. I clutched my keys with the
Hmm.
keys up, and I was going to make it out that door one way or the other. And so I did and ended up,
Yeah.
but it's
Well, good.
crazy like how,
Yeah.
you know, uh, there are, yeah, like what if I had not listened, this might be an entirely different conversation or not one at all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, mine would be a totally different conversation, right? I wouldn't even have known that that individual was there, right?
Yeah.
And nothing would have happened at all. And so I will say that, our intuition, our guides, whatever, like those that are around us to protect us, whether you want to call them your guides or your angels or loved ones, whatever, if they need to be loud to get your attention, they will be loud to get your attention,
Yeah, they will.
and it's going to be jolting, and it's going to be at the point where it's like, okay, this is what I got to do,
Yeah.
and there's not going to be any second guess about it. Don't be stubborn like me and argue with them.
Oh
just
no, no, but
just do it, right?
I feel like that's part of the process though through the awakening is
Yeah.
like learning, discernment and how to trust yourself again, especially when you've been taught to doubt yourself your whole life, right?
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
definitely flexing that muscle, right? When we have to go, oh,
Mhm.
Here's why I need to listen more, like we figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, and a lot of times it's going to be, if you're being asked to do something or you feel that push to do something that's outside of your normal nature, I'm going to say 8 times out of 10, that's your intuition speaking to you. You know, that's who that is because they're trying to move you in the direction in which you kind of signed up for,
Yeah,
right? Like we've all signed up for a certain path and to experience certain things and go through certain experiences in our life. And so they're going to help you through that for
yeah,
whatever that is, and their goal is for you to be able to do it as safely and as calmly as deemed possible. And all that's also kind of based on what you agreed to before you ever came here.
for
So I feel
sure.
like we did agree to certain things before we came.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched base on that because, like, I think that a lot of things are predestined.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that there is a level of co-creation happening as well. But
absolutely.
I don't think we just manifest our reality 100%. I don't actually agree with that. So,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, not 100% because I think some of it is, definitely predestined, and I'll tell somebody, they're like, oh, well, I missed this opportunity. Well, if the opportunity was truly meant for you to have, you'll never miss it.
right. No such thing as missing anything, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no mistake. Look, I realized a while back, like there's no mistakes.
No, there's
Everything
not.
that you do is very much intentional,
Yeah,
whether you realize it.
and also that's really hard for some people to sit with, especially when there's so much pain in the world and there's murder and
Mhm.
horrible things happening to families and kids or whatever, right? And so it's
Right.
really hard for some people to be like, "What do you mean there's nothing wrong in the world or no mistakes or whatever?" There's not. There's really not.
Yeah. There's not, yeah. Because there was a purpose for that, right? Like if,
Yeah.
a young soul, came to an early end, well, there was a purpose for that, right? Maybe they came
Yeah.
to teach you something,
Right.
and their passing was a part of that lesson.
That's right. Yeah.
Or maybe they just came to experience such a short period of time so they could go to the other side to do more work. Like my best friend passed away in 2019. And what I'm realizing now, like it took me a little while to realize it, but what I'm realizing now is she's doing a lot more over there than
Yep.
she ever could do here. So sometimes they go because they've got more work to do and
Well,
it's
that's
more than what can
exactly
be done
right.
here.
A lot of times their soul advances and expands so quickly that they know that they can do better from the other side
Mhm.
and they choose to do that. They go,
Yeah.
I did what I could here. It's time to go there. And, we have jobs there too.
Yeah. And it's funny because there was nothing wrong with her. Like she didn't
Yeah.
have any health issues and it was very sudden,
Yeah.
And so to me, that tells me that there's a bigger force here
Yeah.
at play than anything that we can actually kind of understand. I think whatever this reality that we're connected to, I feel that it's bigger than anything that we can actually understand and that
Yeah.
we can comprehend as individuals because there's just so much more to play. And everything that we do here is basically a ripple effect across all that exists.
Yeah. Universal. Like it goes out
I
everywhere.
think it's, yeah, everywhere.
Yeah. I agree with
It's
that.
pretty amazing, so don't beat yourself up. Trust yourself. Know that there's a loving presence that's here to support you. And find people that are going through the same things or that have gone through those things so they can be there to communicate and help you and make you feel like you're not going so crazy.
Yeah, so that way you realize that you're not as alone as you think you are because that shit does make you feel, it does set you apart. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was heartbroken. Did a class yesterday and one of the attendees, we were doing aura work and we were watching. Basically, I would have them sit in front of the screen, a white screen, and I would have them talk about something they really enjoyed, and we would watch their aura change.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, let's talk about something a little bit more, discerning, like what's stressing you now in your life. And we saw her aura change again,
Hmm.
and then she started saying, well, I feel all alone. I'm not, I don't have other people around me. And it really broke my heart. But her whole aura turned gray
Yeah.
when she started feeling that way. And so, I mean, it was one of the first classes she had been to. So we took the time to let her know that she wasn't alone and that there are others here to support her and to listen and to share with her.
Well, and I like that you're the medium that you went to see. I like that the
Hmm.
first thing she said to you was, "You're not crazy." I think
I do too.
all the
Yeah.
mediums need to deliver that message because, like,
Yeah.
that is exactly the enlightenment we need for those
Hmm.
people that are like, "Holy shit, I'm losing my marbles," and "Oh my God, I deserve a padded room," and not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those are the real thoughts I had about my
Hmm.
situation. I thought I was having an absolute breakdown of reality and a mental health crisis. Like I thought, I don't know what I thought, but it wasn't going good.
Right.
And I thought, oh my God, I'm schizophrenic because um,
Hmm.
I see dots and I talk to Elvis, right? Like all the things, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
I really did think, and more than that, again, like, like I said earlier, other people didn't understand it. So their fears
Yes.
were projected, and that just amplified what I already was,
Yeah. And so, especially
feeling.
if it's been, yeah, I think in the last couple years, it's gotten better than that. But I mean, this was like 2 decades ago, man, and
Right.
people weren't open to it.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
even when I was going through most of my stuff, I didn't come out of the psychic closet until 2017 or 18. And
Okay.
and so it wasn't that long ago. I just turned 47 this year. So like
Yeah.
it's not been that long that I finally, leaned into it. For
Hmm.
all of my life before that, the 37 years before that, I was fighting tooth and nail to give it back. I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
this. You're ruining my life. Like I wanted nothing to
Yeah.
do with it. So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
really, really asleep.
And yeah, I mean, yes, and there's still people today that are asleep that are fighting it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so, I kind of like, I don't want to hurt their feelings, but it kind of makes me giggle a little bit because, I kind of want to tell them you really don't have much of a choice. It's going to happen. We can
that's the
embrace it and
thing.
make the best of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's exactly what happened. So, as much time as you spend asleep, that tower moment gets bigger and it's
It's bigger.
building. It's not going
Yes.
to, it's not it. And when it comes, it's going to
Hmm.
wreck everything. And it did. That's what
Hmm.
happened to me. I mean, it shredded my existence. There was no dignity left, right? Like there
Yeah.
was nothing. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I guess I have to lean into it because there's nothing left. It literally forces you to.
Yeah. But it's going to change I mean, it's going to change everything for you. Like
It
it's going to
does.
change the meaning of life. It's going to change your purpose for being here. It's
Yep.
going to change how you see everything.
It changes everything.
It changes everything. But I will say that I think it's all for the better.
Yeah.
Once you can, it's all for the better once you can embrace it, read books, find podcasts, find whatever it
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
you
Educate
need,
yourself.
groups. Yeah, and just be with it. And I would, the main thing I would say is if you come across something and it doesn't resonate with you, just set it to the side,
Yeah. It doesn't have to
right? You
mean for
don't,
you right now.
but I will say, don't say never
Right. You can always circle back to
because
it.
you can't, yeah, because you can't circle, it's like Reiki was a thing for me early on. It's just like, man, I don't know about this Reiki stuff. It seems really kind of out there. I'm just going to put it to the side.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm a Reiki practitioner,
Right. And so that was one of
right?
the, yeah, I do Reiki also, but I don't do it. I learned Usui. However,
Hmm.
I don't do the way I learned. I just do what works for me, what's organic for
Yes.
me. And I don't
Yep.
practice with other people. I mostly practice myself, whatever.
Yeah.
But I will say one of the modalities that came up for me that never did anything for me was tapping.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean
Yeah.
it can't later. It
It
doesn't
just
mean
hasn't yet.
it doesn't mean it's a wrong modality. It's just not the right fit for me. At least
Yep.
not right now. And so that's one of
Yeah.
those things where I go, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I've
I
done the
feel the
things.
exact same
I've
way.
done
That's
the
so
things.
funny.
I've taken the certificate. I've got all the books, and I'm like, well, I don't care, right?
Yeah,
Like, and that's okay. It just doesn't speak to my soul the way other things do.
right. I agree. I'm the same way about the tapping. Like I'm very interested in it, but it hasn't really like I've tried it and it really just didn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and it's funny. And so like even the Reiki, now my Reiki includes light language. Um, and my Reiki includes like sound, vibration, and light language in it. So I don't do necessarily the traditional Reiki
yeah,
that you're used to. So I do like I know it, but I do more of like whatever comes naturally in the moment,
yeah. That's what I do.
with whoever's and who's ever there.
Well, and
So
that's what matters is it matters on who your sitter is and what's being presented
yes.
intuitively in that moment. And so, yeah, absolutely. I do it that way too. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm very much that way. I think there's a lot of us that like to tread our own paths for sure.
Yes.
Especially if we're very intuitively in touch with ourselves.
Hmm.
Which is how we learned to trust ourselves to begin with.
Yeah.
Let's talk about past life, like past life regression.
Okay.
And
All
past
right. I
lives.
love past
I
lives.
I love this
Hmm.
subject because just from my perspective, I love hypnotherapy, and
Hmm.
that's also
I do
a
too.
modality I'm certified in. So,
Yeah.
but not one I practice outside of like myself.
Hmm.
But uh, hypnotherapy is beautiful, and I love
Yes.
that we can. There is so much healing that can happen just from tapping into all those that are unconscious or subconscious, our conscious
Hmm.
levels. So I want to talk about past lives because I think sometimes, I guess what I want to understand is like when you talk about past lives, what that
Hmm.
perspective is, because when I talk about other lives, it's more like alternative lives because everything happens simultaneous. So I'm
They
curious,
do.
yeah, so I'm curious what your standpoint is on past lives.
So first of all, I'd like to say that, when you go through any type of healing that is related to a past life or even in this lifetime, I feel that it heals across all spectrums of that. Right. I don't feel that. So, like, I think you can go through an experience in your current life, but I also think you can go into a hypnotic state, into a past life, see where something was, learn from that, and then in your current life, take the necessary steps to make that correction or heal or learn from it. And then it kind of like takes care of it across the board. Does that
Yeah.
kind of make sense?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I think we
So,
can definitely integrate healing and then there's like a cell recovery kind of.
yes, yes. And so when I discovered past life, for me, it truly helped me identify more of who I was and explained more of why I felt or believed certain things.
Yeah.
And it also allowed me to release some beliefs that I had that were holding me back,
Yeah. Yep.
and so for me, it was truly life changing. And when I went through mine, I wanted to learn how to do that for others so I could help others go through that same type of transition for themselves to find, where there's triggers in their body or even within their own emotions that may not, that, yeah, they may see where it came from, like this lifetime, but there's a good chance that it came from another lifetime as well.
Yeah.
And so being able to find that and make that connection and observe it, it can allow you to address it and make the changes that you want to make to make your life better,
Yeah.
right? Or heal those traumas. And so like one thing I remember, like when I went through that first past life, I went in, my belief at that time towards women was that you can't trust women.
Yeah.
And I had hardly any female friends.
Yeah.
Most of my friends were male. But once I realized that and identified where that came from, then I was able to release it. Now that's all I have is female friends,
Yeah.
right? And so to me, it was amazing how that, and it also explained why I was good at certain things in this lifetime, good at certain things that I experienced, and so it just made more sense of some of the things that kind of came naturally to me because it's been a history of it for I don't know how long, right? Like
Yeah.
over lifetimes, multiple lifetimes. Um, so that's kind of where, I my belief is on that. Um, I've seen people in the most amazing past life hypnosis that I conducted on a client. I mean, it was so amazing. I can't even, I'm still kind of lost for words about how, kind of like what happened, but in this past life, what she experienced was being thrown into the ocean in a bag. So
Okay.
she was basically just dumped in the ocean, like trash.
Yeah.
And she was panicking because she was in this bag.
Hmm.
And so I was like, well, you can tear through the bag. And so she started, so I told her, I was like, tear through it. I don't care if you got to bite it, rip it with your nails, whatever you got to do, let's tear through that bag. And so she like went through the motions of tearing through it. And then she's like, I'm free. And I'm like, yes, you are free. I was like,
Hmm.
so, what do you want to do now? She's like, I want to swim to the top. I was like, well, let's swim.
Yeah.
Let's start swimming, let's free yourself. And so then she landed on a beach and she still had the string of the garbage bag tied to her ankle. And it's funny because before the hypnosis, she told me that her ankle had been bothering her for quite some time. And it
Okay.
was the exact same ankle that she ended up having this string tied around. And so I was like, well, can you untie it? She's like, I think so. And I was like, well, let's untie it.
Yeah.
And so she spent about 3 or 4 minutes untying this invisible. I couldn't see the string, of course, but she's like fighting with it and untying it, and she's letting it go. And she finally says it's gone.
Hmm.
And as soon as that happened, she literally started throwing up. I mean, just she started throwing. So I'm helping her, right? I'm helping her with that. So and then I go and get a wash rag and so she can wipe off her face and clean up. And then she's like, I want to go explore. And I realized at that point she was still in hypnosis. She never came out of it when she got sick.
Yeah.
Right. And but she was releasing whatever that this bag was representing for her in her life. Like she was releasing all of that
Yeah. She was
in the
literally
middle of that
purging.
hypnosis.
Yeah.
Yes. It was the most amazing experience that I ever witnessed.
Yeah.
I'm just truly honored, right, that was able to do that.
Well, and I love that hypnosis, like you said, it absolutely sheds a light on things that we might not always be aware of.
Yes.
Um, and especially when there's so many of us walking around like in comas, then
Yeah.
there's definitely
Yeah.
not awareness happening,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So like even, it's used for people to quit smoking because you get to
Yeah.
identify where the addiction's coming from, and then you have the
Hmm.
power over everything. Once
Yeah.
the knowledge is power, right? So, uh, people that have severe crippling anxiety, panic attacks, they get to
Yeah.
explore where that's coming from and how to move through it differently, and
Yeah.
they have a better understanding of it all around.
Yeah.
And so it can be it's definitely a great modality.
Hey everyone, Stephanie here. For those of you seeking intuitive insight, April provides private psychic medium readings. These sessions are designed to bring clarity and direction across areas like money, career, relationships, family dynamics, spiritual evolution, and emotional well being. If you're ready for deeper, more personalized support, April offers private one on one coaching for those navigating grief, trauma, and the complexities of toxic relationship recovery. You can schedule a discovery call using the links below to ensure it's a comfortable fit. You'll find all booking links in the show notes. As always, thanks for tuning in.
Yes, I love it. I do. I love it. I've used past life hypnosis on myself, but of course on all my clients. I've even used it to help me let go of control.
Yeah.
So, like I've used it and basically I've set that part of me into a control room and just let it play with all the buttons and let it act like it's in control to allow me to just be in this state of allowance,
Yeah.
and be able to get there and do that. I think it's wonderful. I mean, I think it can tell somebody a lot about themselves. And if you're open to discover that, and then once you see maybe what is a potential root cause for an addiction or an anxiety or a behavior, that you're able to take the steps necessary to heal from that, release it. The healing doesn't necessarily take place in the past life hypnosis. A lot of time, most of it's going to take place in your waking life, but that just gives you a tool to help you identify it.
Yeah, it's still tapping that wire though, and then it ripples
Yeah,
out. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I believe that once you take care of that here, it's going to take care of it there too.
Yeah.
And what other lifelines that's connected into.
Yeah. And so one of the questions I have too about like your perspective on past lives is I tend to come from a place of like presence is the most powerful point, and
Hmm.
like all lives are happening simultaneously. So are you able to speak
Hmm.
on that? Like how you feel about that too?
I definitely, yes, I definitely feel that they're all happening simultaneously. And I also feel that if you reach a certain um, is it like threshold? Like if you reach a certain level here, like in this waking, it's going to take effect in all others too. And
Yeah.
also feel that it also takes effects in our higher self that's sitting wherever our home is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like if you are advancing in this space, your healing in this space is is hitting on all of those,
Yeah. It's
right?
past, present, future healing. It's like
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah, and it goes everywhere. And if you're really connected into that that signal,
Hmm.
I like if you're really connected into that signal, you can probably actually feel it.
Yeah.
But it's going
Yeah.
to be very
Well, kind of like
subtle.
she did, like she even threw up. You definitely feel
Yeah,
it. You'll feel
yeah,
it. And
yeah,
like you said, her ankle was hurting. Well, I bet it healed after that because she wasn't carrying
yeah,
the weight
yeah.
anymore.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was called, and I mean, yeah, her ankle was better, right? She didn't have any more issues. It probably took maybe a few days afterwards. Because whatever you go in that, I don't want anyone to get the impression that, oh, if I go to do a past life hypnosis because of, this chronic pain that I have, that as soon as I come out of that, I'm going to be healed. I don't want to give that impression because I just feel there's still
Yeah, because
work
it's
that,
not magic. There still has to be
right.
a lot of integrating that happens. And
Yeah.
sometimes that can take our stubborn fucking humans a while.
Yes. But I will say that once you go through a past life, I tell all my clients this, like, once you go through it, I tell them, I was like, over the next few weeks, up to several months, things are going to start coming to you. You've
Mhm.
opened the door.
Yeah.
You've opened that door, so you're going to get hits. You're going to get more and more and more. Like I can tell you, there was a past life that
It's
hit me
literally
as
shaking,
I was
it's literally
sitting in.
rocking the boat.
Yeah, really, yeah. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, I was in the passenger seat, coming back from Florida, and then all of a sudden I saw a past life.
Mhm.
Just like bam, all of a sudden, and then explain my fear of snakes for years.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere. And I was just like, okay, but yeah, I still don't like snakes, but I'm not as terrified of them today,
Right.
as I used to be. I still guess have some work around it. I'm not really interested in working on that, but
Well, no, actually, you bring up a really good point, though. Like, I also had a massive fear of snakes. And in retrospect, I know exactly where that was, like why that
Mhm.
happened. And it was actually about when I was younger, or I guess when I was a teenager, rather. I was really, really scared of snakes, especially the poisonous ones, right? Like obviously.
Mhm.
But I didn't really understand why. I also had a fear of sharks that I didn't really understand why, which stemmed from my mom, which in retrospect, now I can appreciate sharks. I'm still not going to fucking swimming with one, but like
Right.
I'm not
Mhm.
having nightmares about them all the time anymore. Like they don't
Yeah.
scare me. Snakes also don't scare me, but when I was a kid, they did scare me all the time. And
Mhm.
I ended up with somebody in my future that had snakes for pets. And he was the worst thing that ever happened to me and my kids. Very
Okay.
abusive,
Mhm.
very horrible, like vibration altogether.
Mhm.
Um, and someone I wish to never even speak that name because it's so disgusting to me. So that's where the snake hits were coming from. And now in
Yeah.
retrospect, I get it. Like my younger self saw that future. Like I was picking up on it
How about
somewhere.
that?
Right.
Yeah.
So now, now I've ended up in it. This isn't hypnotherapy necessarily, but it's kind of how it works. I ended up getting a pet snake, raising one,
Mhm.
hand raising one. And now my fears
Mhm.
of snakes are different. They're not, I still don't want to go play in a pit of vipers, right? Like I'm not going to go do
Right.
that, but
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of them anymore. Not like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was able to heal it by like leaning in. Well, cool. Let me go figure
Yeah.
out how to, respect and appreciate this being, this creature.
Mhm.
So I ended up with a pet and raising it from the day it hatched to till it was 5. And that changed everything for me. And that's kind of how hypnotherapy works. Like you end up,
It does.
facing the things and learning about where they're stemming from. And then you get to lean
Mhm.
into it differently. And another thing that I do that's similar in nature is like, um, just this last week, actually, my right wrist was really, really hurting to the point that I couldn't even pick up a cup of water. I've
Mhm.
never in my entire life felt pain like that. And I haven't felt it since, right? So it only lasted for the
Yeah.
24-hour period.
Mhm.
And I knew it was because I needed to put something down.
Yeah.
And I did, and then my wrist was fine.
How about that?
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
wild how
Yeah.
how things show up in our body.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Everything that we sense in our body. Yeah. I'm gonna say everything. Like I kind of want to argue with that a little bit, but I'm hearing no, don't argue with it. So everything that we experience within our body is coming from something else.
Yeah.
Either something we're ignoring or something we're refusing to accept or something that we're refusing to let go of,
Yeah.
right? Like we're holding on to. Um, yeah, I want to argue that so bad, but I can't. That's
Yeah.
that intuition, just so you know, like
Yeah.
that me wanting to argue is me, but the point that I can is the intuition because it's not wrong. And
Yeah.
so sometimes we do argue with our intuition. So it's
Oh, I have
okay. Like,
knockdown, drag out fights with my guides. Like I
yeah.
absolutely, my human wants to punch them in the face half the time. Like I like,
Yeah.
and I've actually had big arguments too, like you're talking about. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
I've been presented with, and this is funny because you said earlier, if it's outside of your norm, that's how it's a really good indication of your intuition, which is so true. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say sometimes that outside of our norm is extremely scary territory and
Yes.
feels it like for me, it felt like scary, even like I was being violated. I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, hey, I feel like you're pushing something on me that I'm not okay with, and blah. Like it was really extreme. And it was
Mhm.
the very thing I needed to do
Yeah.
and was so glad I did. And I was like, whoa, that was wild. Like, because there was an example I had probably about a year ago where I don't want to get into the story too much, but basically, my guides got louder and louder over a 3-day span,
Mhm.
to the point that they were stalking and harassing me and I couldn't even think because it was so loud. So I couldn't ignore it.
Mhm.
Like that's where they're basically forcing you
They're
into something.
forcing you.
They're forcing
Mhm.
the action, like because get your ass moving. So I did,
Yeah.
even though I'm arguing with them for 3 days and I'm like, fuck off. That's insane. I'm not doing that. Like all of those conversations are happening. And
Mhm.
even at the time I remember being like, that is morally and unethically fucked up. I'm not doing that. Like I was like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. But
Yeah.
then I ended up doing it because the urgency was being pushed so hard. I did the thing
Hmm.
and I was like, oh my God, now I know why you made me do that. And like by the end of that event, I was like, holy shit, dude. I'm so glad you pushed my ass through that. Like they had to pull me by my hair through it. Right.
No,
And
yeah,
and so sometimes it's like that.
it is. Yeah. So, yeah. So, when we ignore,
Mhm.
I will say this because it's something I'm still dealing with today. When we ignore something, they're going to put you in a situation where it's going to force it.
That's exactly what happens. And
And
I
so,
think that's what
yeah,
happened. It was like either take this window and do the thing,
yeah,
or you move into a trajectory where it gets much harder.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So I worked for the federal government for 22 years and knew years before that it was time for me to leave,
Yeah.
but I was comfortable
Yeah.
and I didn't want to step out of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then I got laid off.
Yeah.
By I got Doge. That's what we call it. We got Doge. So we got Rift. It's been a little over a year, right? And so now I've opened up my own shop, my own brick and mortar in this, but oh my God, it's terrifying.
But also,
I
like, look
am,
how the universe had your back. It's like, hey, dude,
yeah,
like you've got bigger
yeah,
and better things to do. So we're gonna do this for you. Like that's
yeah,
how we learn how to trust the process right there, because it just
yeah,
like opens up abundance for us in so many ways.
yeah. So likely, yeah. So I'm very thankful. Like I've never had to put like the rent in the space, like it was all covered itself. Like there's nothing that I had to take out of my own wallet, to pay for that because it paid for itself. So, but trusting that is, it's scary.
Yeah.
It can make you sit in a room and cry because you don't know
Yes.
what's going to come next because you have no control.
Yes.
But realizing that, allowing yourself to let go of that control, then things better than you can even imagine can happen from that.
Yeah, absolutely. I
We
100%.
hold ourselves back.
Yeah, we do.
We limit ourselves. Yeah, 100%. And because we have a lot of times, many of us have such a limited thought process that we can't see beyond our own selves,
Yeah.
right? We can't understand that, things can happen and it doesn't necessarily have to be the traditional way of what we know.
Yeah.
We've been brought up with these traditional methods, but
Well, and a lot of
that's
times
not,
those
just,
traditions have actually been very harmful
yes, they
because
have. Absolutely.
they program us and they condition us to this is the way it's always done. So if you deviate outside of that, you're the devil. Well, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
that's the problem with the world actually.
Yeah. 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 So it's just, I think it's just amazing. I think it's just all amazing. I'm gonna tell you, I've been doing this work for um a decade and a half and I still get amazed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because that's why we keep going actually, because we have to
Yeah.
remember to believe in magic too.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. But crazy things happen all the time. And I just quit questioning and I just embrace it and just be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I still struggle with it sometimes, like because
Oh yeah.
my human's
Yeah,
human.
we're human. We're going to.
And so
Yeah.
like again, I will absolutely get in knocked down, drag out fights with my guys and be like, "You're stupid. I'm never doing
Yep.
that." And then the next day
Yep.
I'm doing it. I'm like, okay,
Yep.
whatever.
I know. I was telling somebody, like, I was like, thankfully, my car almost drives itself. Like, it'll stay in the lane and it'll keep pace from hitting someone else.
Yeah.
I was like, thank goodness, because one day I got so mad at my guides, and it's been recently, like within the last couple months, and I'm screaming and yelling and pitching a fit, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm just like, ah, it's just like, thank goodness, because,
Yep.
but I think it's healthy to let the frustration out,
Well,
you
right.
know?
That's part of our gift of being human is we're
Yeah.
allowed to experience all of those things. That's how,
Yeah.
again, that's really how it goes back to trusting ourselves is because we
Yeah.
allow so much of our humanity.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you get frustrated, I mean, let it out. It doesn't mean that,
For sure.
the
It doesn't
situation is going to,
mean that you hate your guides, even though I say it all the
yeah,
time. It doesn't mean that your guides love you less because, oh my God, you threw a tantrum. God doesn't love you less because you got pissed off and told
you
him to
pitched a
get
fit.
bent. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen yet. And, it
No.
kills me when people say, well, I screamed and yelled and cussed at my guy, so now they're punishing me. I was like, no, they're not punishing you.
Yeah,
You're
that's
punishing you.
wild to me that people like actually still believe. I mean, it's not wild because I get we're all programmed a certain way, but like still people are like, oh, karma's a punishment. No, karma's action oriented. It's not a punishment.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
like some past life is punishing you for the present. That's so fear-based and so wrong. It's just so misconstrued. But then also
Yes.
like, oh, I had a fit and now I have to go pray for forgiveness because I told God to fuck off. God doesn't care.
No.
Like, why
Mm,
are you at forgiveness for what? You didn't do anything wrong.
yeah. There is no right or wrong. And it's the right or wrong that we humans put around everything that makes it what it is. It just is. And let me tell you, they're going to understand more. You're pitching a fit, screaming and yelling and
Than we
cussing
even do.
than you do. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so true. That is like the
Yeah.
loudest truth happening right now is like
Yeah.
they actually have more unconditional understanding and love of
Hmm.
our situations than we even do.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I honestly, they probably see it coming before we do,
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah,
right?
because they knew what we agreed to before we
Yeah.
came. We don't even remember all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Thank you for joining Own Your Essence. I am beyond grateful to our guests for sharing their wisdom and to you, our listeners, for being part of this journey toward healing and empowerment. If today's conversation resonated with you, please feel free to subscribe, leave a review, and share this space with others who might need it. If you have questions, topic ideas, want to be a guest, or would like to work with me privately, send an email. I'd love to hear from you.